It is Monday, which means it is time for Monday Message, and I want to talk about childlike faith. My name is Abby, and this is Webs of Faith Elevate. We know that we're supposed to have a childlike faith because Jesus talks to his disciples about it, and we can see this through the Gospels. It's in Luke and in Matthew, but I want to look at Mark chapter 10, verse 14 and 15. It says, "Let the children come to me and do not hinder them, for the kingdom of God belongs to such as these. Truly I tell you, anyone who will not receive the kingdom of God like a child will never enter it." So we know we're supposed to have a childlike faith, but what is a childlike faith? I think being a parent really kind of helped me grasp this concept. I think there are a few things that will help us kind of grow and understand what it means to have a childlike faith. The first is just believing what God says. If you're a parent or you've been around kids, you can probably confirm that kids have an immense amount of trust. My daughter has been afraid of monsters recently, and so we told her to get this monster spray, but we wanted more than that. We wanted her to incorporate God. So we told her that God is going to protect her if she prays. So she prays, and she just trusts that God is going to protect her. She's no longer afraid of the monsters because Jesus is going to make her brave, and Jesus is going to take care of the issue. She just takes it as it comes. However, having trust does not mean that we don't ask questions. If you are a parent or you have been in a classroom, I can pretty much guarantee you were questioned out at some point. My toddler is in the why stage, and nothing prepared me for that as a parent. There are only so many times I can answer the question why. Kids ask questions. They're naturally curious, and there's nothing wrong with asking questions. There's nothing wrong with going to people who are smarter than you or going to God. He's not afraid of your questions, and he wants questions. When I taught third grade, we would learn about questions, and I said that questions are great, but we have to know what questions to ask and how to ask them. What is your heart behind the question? This past Christmas, my husband and I were studying Luke, and we were talking about Zachariah and Mary. They were both approached by an angel, and they both asked the same question, but yet they're met with different responses. And my husband was asking, and he's like, why is this? And I know in some translations, the questions are a little bit different, but let's talk about it. So Zachariah, who is an elderly gentleman who's been following God, his wife can't have a kid, and so an angel appears to him and is like, you're gonna have a kid. And his response is, how will this be? Some translations do read, how can I be sure? The next chapter over, an angel appears to Mary and says, you're going to have a child even though you're not married. She responds with, how will this be? Zachariah gets punished and can't talk for the entire time that his wife is pregnant, and Mary gets praised. And the reality is, it's behind the intent in the question. Zachariah has a knowledge, and he's asking God. He's questioning God. Where Mary has an innocence, and she's not questioning God. She's just curious on what he's going to do. I think that moves into the next point, where if we think about kids, they are so teachable. They are like little sponges. My daughter picks up new skills every single day, and God needs us to be that way. He needs us to be teachable. He needs us to learn. And I think sometimes as adults, we don't want to learn, and we start to question things, and we don't let our mindset change. I think the next thing we need to encourage this childlike faith is to run to God. If my daughter is hurt, if she needs something, if she wants something, if she's tired, if she's hungry, she'll run to her dad or she'll run to me. And as soon as we told her that God can provide for her, she doesn't hesitate to go to him in prayer. We need to, whether we're hurting, whether we're afraid of the monsters, whether we're happy or we're tired, run to our Father, just like a child will run to their father. And lastly, I think of this a lot. Children have this ability to just be in awe. They just appreciate life. They look at things with just such pure joy and wonder. We need to do that with God. He's created this beautiful and wonderful life, and we need to go with him without the cynicalness or the frustrations or the judgment. We just need to be in awe of God. A childlike faith does not mean a childish faith. It doesn't mean that we don't ask questions. It doesn't mean that we just blindly trust. It doesn't mean that we don't form relationships. It's just the way in which we do have a relationship.